What's up, everybody? If you are new to Free Game, my name is Samantha Peel. I am a part of the Be Social team that is a part of the Whitner Group's community initiatives. I am also a head of Hand Wash Cold, and I am just happy to be here along with our head leader in charge, James Whitner. James, hello.
I run security for you, Sam. I'm Sam's bodyguard, everybody. I'm James, head of security at the Whitaker Group. My job is to keep Samantha safe as she continues to go down the path of being a celebrity. What's good, everybody? Happy holidays. I hope everybody's getting ready for the weekend. Yes, there's been a lot going on this week, a lot to talk about. Excited to just engage and talk to folks and, you know what I'm saying, just catch some vibes coming into the weekend, get some of this weight lifted off of our shoulders, just built and conversate.
Absolutely. Just a few reminders as you come in. We are recording. I am also a retired model, so I might be snapping a few shots, and I promise I'll get your best angles. Of course. I will also be taking questions from the chat. Please remember to be kind, because although I'm a retired model, I'm also an aspiring virtual bouncer. We will boot you out if you are bad. Please be kind, behave, and be well. All right. Does anybody have questions so far? Do you want to jump right in, James?
Oh, we could jump in. I think my goal this week was to just get on and catch a vibe. Like so many, we've been very regimented lately and had a lot of topics going on. And I think you start seeing a lot of heavy things happening. And then coming into a holiday weekend, everybody getting back outside. It's just a lot going on. So I just wanted to catch vibes, catch energy, see why everybody came out tonight, where everybody's on, and, you know, just kind of go with it. I guess that's the point of the open session, right? Everybody, if you haven't attended Free Game, easiest way is to drop your questions in the chat. We will look at the chat. So the chat is how we conversate. Drop your questions in the chat. We'll look at the question and then we'll unmute you and we kind of get into it. But I'm open to talk about whatever, today. Again, I said a million times, I love getting a chance to spend time with our team. I don't see our team's faces enough because the schedule still is around. I don't spend enough time with our Be Social team. Well, not as much as I would like nearly. So just getting a chance to vibe with our team and getting a chance to vibe with y'all and just talk about the issues of the world and the things that can collectively make us all better. These conversations provide energy for me. And I just blessed to be a part of this group. So, you know, feel free to throw stuff in the chat. Let's just bust it up. Let's take the time to be productive and get better with it, get better together.
All right, you heard the man. Let's get into the questions. Okay, so
go for it, Samantha. You sound like you got something teed up already.
I do. I have a whole list for you.
All right. Go for it.
I do. Okay. All right. Here we go. Okay. So our first question comes from Discord. Soul of the Streets asked, what inspired you to be more than just a boutique? Where do you plan on taking the Whitaker Group endeavors in the future?
Honestly, if we could, I say it all the time, and I think people think I'm crazy when I say it. It's the idea of approaching humanity different, right? And starting to rebalance things through cool and culture. Like we begin to see our power and realize our power as a culture. We're starting to understand the power of our voice and how to leverage it. So I honestly think that we can be equivalent to the United Nations, right? Politicians create legislation, but people move politicians and move mountains. And that shit might sound cliche, but for me, we can leverage. The idea is to leverage our cool to do business, to get a seat in the room, to kind of get a position on the world the way we want to see it, right? So, like, it starts with us just, building and having community and doing shit that's important to us, right? And us being together creates good energy, and it allows us to support one another. That support causes commerce, right? So people want to connect with our community, and because they want to connect with our community, then in turn we do commerce. That commerce gives us a seat at the table and the ability to leverage our voice in a meaningful way. That voice creates action, and that's all I'm really about is the action, execution. So it's just really about continuing to build a meaningful community so we can have the most impactful and potent action. I hope that answers the question. I mean, and in the meantime, too, on the sugar side, do a bunch of cool shit. Like, we obviously have the Jordan 2 this week. That's sugar, right? That's the cool shit we get to do. We get a chance to, build meaningful spaces for us all to hang out in. Next year will be an incredible year to see us roll out a bunch of spaces. So it's about a lot of things. It's about creating meaningful physical and digital experiences that help empower us and lead us to be actionable, to change shit, make the world look like we want it to look.
Awesome. I feel like you put a lot of meat in that sandwich. If they ain't got the answer, they never will. That was perfect. So the next question is still from Discord. What is the process for selecting a project, and how do you balance meeting financial company goals with creativity and community interaction?
I'm gonna do the backside first. If you connect meaningfully, the financial goals get easy. Like, obviously, like, first and foremost, like we got the support of probably one of the most important brands in the world, Jordan brand. Shout out to everybody on the Jordan team. I mean, and Nike Inc. They ride with us, and not just Nike Inc. But I'll start there, right? Because when you get a chance to work on a canvas, and you get the support that we have from our brand partners, because they believe in what we believe in, right? They understand that there's an opportunity to make the world better. So then we start to use the product as canvas. So we look to be as impactful as we possibly can be, right? Obviously, you got to create things that people love, right? If you don't create things that people love, then that doesn't help the sugar part. But we literally just select by seeing what partners are most invested in the things that we're invested in. And lucky enough, our most invested partners right now happens to be Jordan brand. And not to say that others aren't invested. We have tons of amazing partners, but we're just getting going with them. But the one that continues to stand up for us is the Jordan brand and the Nike team. They just continue to be incredible. So that relationship has been one where they want to start creating some parity. You've seen other brands work for decades, right? And nobody from our from our part of the world who's telling our stories gets a fair chance. So I think there's an opportunity now for us to tell our stories and in a meaningful way, and not be limited to a season or two, but meaningfully tell our stories in the long term.
Nice. So our next question comes from the chat. He says, Free Game has always been about passing on education covering a wide variety of topics, including retail and finance. As the owner of numerous retail boutiques, what methods do you use to manage your budgets by season, and how do you know where to allocate your open to buy?
Oh, damn, that's a tactical question at 7:13. I don't know if Brandon's on a call or not, because we've been driving him crazy with this. It goes like we got John on our team and Brandon on our team and Kev on our team. You got to get tactical when it comes to doing business, right? When you run in a business, it's $1. It's easy to have an open to buy, right? It's $1, because if you don't spend the whole $1, you're never going to get the $3. So at that point, you got to overbuy just to get yourself in business, right? When you're at $1 million, it just depends on what brands you have access to and what the market demand is for those brands. We're in a very privileged space to work with incredible vendor partners across luxury, streetwear, sneakers, and apparel. So a lot of the times, I like to say, because we don't have any investors or partners, because we're wholly owned, we don't really have to like hit a quarterly budget per se. right? We don't operate that way. We operate from the bottom down. My goal is to always know what it is that it costs us to do business. So I keep an eye on what our break even cost is for doing business and make sure we pay everybody on time and we pay our bills. And then the rest is just about doing the right thing. And we start with doing the right thing is making sure that we're amazing partners to our vendor partners, that we're building an amazing brand that you guys respect and want to be a part of. And then we work backwards from there. Like obviously we go into every season understanding the business that we done last year, but our goal is never to hit the number from last year. Our goals is just to do the right things and work with the right folks and work with people who have a meaningful shared vision, that has a shared vision that's aligned with ours. Now I go to your technical answer. The technical answer for buying is you should probably look at what you've done for the last year and to look at the trailing 3 months, right? The trailing 3 months will help you understand any trends that's happening. The trailing 3 weeks will also help you understand where you are, and depending on seasons, you should look at the trailing year to understand a drop off between seasons. That's probably the easiest way to coordinate your budget. Because as retail, I would always be underbought until you understand that you have a real strong position in the marketplace. It's easier to have less. Less is more. And a lot of times people want to have more, but you rather have money in your pocket and open to buy to chase goods, unless the only opposite to that rule is if you're talking about goods that are evaporating in less than 30 seconds. If somebody tells me I can get Yeezy 2s from 2000 and whatever the fuck, like, yo, there is no open to buy on that. You take as many as Nike's willing to give you. When you're talking about your own projects, it's about things that it's about what the brands you believe in and what you believe in, and you sit down and you just look at the potential. You demand plan the product, and you make a buy. But the goal is to always, always, always leave space on the table. Never overbuy. Don't be a pig. Hogs get fat, pigs get slaughtered.
Ooh, nice. So we also have a raised hand. So Graylin, I'm going to unmute you so you can ask your question.
Hey, how you doing today? First off, I want to say I appreciate you. Appreciate you all for having this session. My name is Graylin Hurd. I am a new up and coming founder of a brand called Salute, and I'm in the process of rolling out with our second drop. And I'm trying to really figure out from a pricing aspect, like trying to figure out pricing. Right, because we kind of sold out of our first drop and also our second drop. And, you know, just in regards to like determining price, like say, for example, being in the same ranks as some of the brands I don't want to be in the ranks of, but then at the same time, making sure that, you know, the product is still accessible to different type of people, right? So from a pricing structure, do you have any suggestions in regards to that and how to price project or items, you know, and things of that sort?
What I would say is the math is the math, right? So there's the cost that you make the product, right? Every dime over the cost of making a product and all the logistics to get the product in and out, that's your cost, right? So every penny over that cost is your profit, right? You got to be in business, right? So you got to ask yourself, do you plan on selling wholesale or do you just plan on being retail? Graylin, you there? Sam, did he go?
He's still there, but he may not.
Well, I'll just say it anyway. Graylin, if you planned on being wholesale, you got to leave enough space in for your retailers to make money. So, example, if you're at $1, right, and it costs you $1 to make goods, right, and you plan on going to retail, you have to then probably sell to retail for $2 or $2.10, right? Because you got to make margin and your retailers got to make margin. You could make less margin, so you could sell to retailers for $1.75. You just got to make sure your operating costs and your profit is covered in covered in the margin that you pass off to retail in. Because then you need to sell to retail probably between $1.75 to $2.25, right? And then retail is going to mark that up between 50 and 60 points. That's the general answer, right? Because I don't have your voice, I can't ask you a bunch of questions that I would love to ask to give you context, give you proper context. But that's the general answer. And the thing that I would say that's important is always make sure that the consumer sees value in your goods, right? Because either you're a startup or you're Chanel, right? If you're Chanel, if you're Chanel, Goyard, Hermes, and hopefully y'all see I'm a Meyer or social status, APP Prosper that way, you see value in the brand. There's going to be a perceived markup that you're willing to pay, but also always make the consumer feel like they're winning, right?
Right.
Like,
Okay.
at the end of the day, the consumer chooses. There you go. You're back.
Yeah, facts. My bad. I was muted, man. I was trying to talk to you, but yeah, right. It just in regards to like the consumer, right? Because I feel like, say for example, like charging maybe $50 for a shirt as opposed to charging $175 for a shirt is value different, right? And I feel like, you know, being a newer brand, like sometimes I'm conflicted because it's like, you know, trying to come out the gate swinging, but at the same time, you know, not trying to get out of my head in regards to people validating the process, because I know the work that goes into, you know, getting it might look like a t-shirt to you, but we might go through 5 different samples, right, just to get the final product to the customer. And it's kind of just conveying like or kind of like breaking that pricing structure down. Like, so one of the things that I'm doing right now is I might go to like 10 different brands that I want to be kind of in the talks with, and I might add up like the shirt, like take shirts from their website, put it in a spreadsheet and average it out, and I get the number back, and it'd be like, okay, well, feel me, like what do I do with this number now?
Yeah, and again, are you wholesale or retail? I mean,
Well,
I'm
no,
sorry.
I haven't started whole.
Are you
Yeah,
direct to consumer or
yeah.
are you going through a third party wholesalers?
Well, no, I'm direct to consumer. We haven't started like wholesale accounts or anything like that. We've had some people ask, but we just been trying to keep it cool for right now, because like I said, we're only on going to be on our 3rd drop coming spring. So
what I would say is there's value in building your brand,
right,
right? And so many people think about money first, right?
right,
And listen, I get it. There's some other entrepreneur that'll tell you to turn and burn. I'm not that guy. I'm the integrity guy. I'm the brand building guy. I'm the guy who wants to see you build value for the long term. If I was a stock investor, I'd be Warren Buffett, right?
right,
So I would say take your time, man. Build value. Make the market understand who you really are and why, and allow the kid in the community to lead you, right? Like, don't follow them off of a cliff. Understand who you are, but make sure they always feel like they're winning, right? And not make sure they feel like they win, and make sure they're always winning, right? Because ultimately, that's what builds meaningful brands.
right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And then the last thing I'll say before we move on is, just because you can charge more doesn't mean you charge more, right? Like always think about, obviously, don't shoot yourself in the foot. Don't hurt yourself for the sake of hurting yourself, right? Look at the comps in the business for a certain item. If you're talking jeans and you're talking fabric, and I could talk about this all day. What I would say is just make sure there's meaningful. Keep the consumer first, and make sure you're building value in your brand.
Right. Awesome. Thank you, man. I appreciate you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Nice. So our next question comes from LA Jones. He says, they say, my question is, how can we as a community, leaders, educators, business owners, and people begin making the changes to empower minorities from social injustices?
Work together. Platforms like we're putting together. Like, the whole reason for this platform is for us to all exist together, right? Because if we work together, then we actually have a stronger voice. When you start to think about what it is that we're trying to get after, it's really about, for me, I'll speak for myself, to me, America's for sale, right? Lobbyists go into the White House and they buy bills. And I don't mean to get political, but this is my second one. So fuck it, right? They go in and they buy bills. So if corporate America wants shit to change, right, then they'll buy the bill. So you get them invested for the right reasons. And again, shout out to all of our partners who matter and are really invested in doing the work with us. Shout out to all the leaders who's doing the work with us. And I think all of you know who you are. Those people, when a $50 billion organization times 500, Fortune 500, start to care meaningfully, that's when we'll start to see change. So as a business community, we get to control as consumers where our dollars are spent, right? And as Black faces, we get to control our influence, right? Because we know what time it is. I ain't got to go on that, right? So if we start to understand the things that we want to consume and why, and obviously they got to be right? We ain't going to just buy no bullshit. And we ain't going to just stand people up that don't matter, right? But if we start to move with a level of intentionality, then we can start to have people take us a little more serious, right? And obviously that starts to, it starts small. It seems small. Like when we say shit like own your choices and shit like that, you think it don't mean nothing. And in the moment you're doing what you're doing and you're in a mix and you start to make bad choices, or not bad choices, but you start to make into mixed choices. Just always take a step back and ask yourself what you're doing and why, because all of our actions have consequences. And if we want better, we got to do better. So as individuals, we actually make up the actions of businesses. We just got to hold them accountable. If you're not getting the level of connection from a business that you feel like you should be getting, change who you do business with.
Nice. And before we take another question, just a reminder, if you would like to ask a question, you can ask in our chat, or you can raise your hand and unmute yourself once I call your name, and you can ask the question. So our next question is going to come from Discord. What's the difference in concept between APB store, social status, and a ma maniere?
That's an easy one. APB is entry, it's inclusivity. APB is about inclusivity, and it's about connection to like the literal kid that's starting, right? Social status is sneaker and street culture. A ma maniere is the ultimate level of luxury street and experience. That's all from a consumer lens. From a community lens, we own it at all points of the business. It's just about who the consumer and what they're taking in. At the a ma maniere level, the disposable income is much higher. And at the social status level, it's in the middle. At the ABB level, they just starting. At the Prosper, they just in Jersey City doing what they're doing. Does that answer the question? I would love for that person to nod yes or no.
I feel like it answers the question. I'm not able to see them, but
if you say that, that's all that matters.
Thank you. I feel validated. Mm-hmm. So our next question is also from Discord. Is there a limited selection on materials, qualities / colors when collabing with Nike, Jordan to design a shoe?
Fuck no. Like, man, listen. There aren't any limits when you get at the table with enough time. The only limit is time. To make things that matter, and I wish I could like do some shit that'll probably get me in trouble, but I'll do it later anyway. When you're doing things that matter, the only thing from a collaboration perspective with any brand is time, because you can get off whatever. It's about having having enough time to source materials and giving the production facilities and the developers enough time to execute the design. Anything's possible. That's why you see some of the shit. That's why we're getting such great product right now. And that's why the market is what it is around, because you're starting to see creators really to get in a bag to go in a lot of places. So No, it's literally it's the limits are endless.
Nice. Our next question comes from Joshua in the chat. With running many businesses at a single time, how are you able to manage each business consistently?
Team. I do a lot of multitasking, but I got an incredible fucking team around me. Like, yo, people don't really understand. And sometimes I scream and bitch about it, but like, yo, everybody know what time it is. Like, yo, when you weren't, I tell people all the time, be careful what you ask for, because if you work with me, you're gonna work. Like, there ain't no, I'm gonna text you at 3 a.m. because I got up and I had a dream and it was about this. Then I might call you, and then we might be on a Zoom at 4:30, and we might be on from 4:30 to 8, and then start working by 9. Like, yo, we have a very committed team, and everybody understands what this is about, and we all aligned on what it's about. I think that's the baseline. That's the beautiful part about what we do and having the people around us. Like, once you in it, you in it, and if you want sanity, I hope you find sanity and passion and trying to make the world better and doing dope shit, because that's all we're trying to do.
Cool beans. So T. Carter has his hand raised. If you want to unmute yourself and go ahead and ask.
I think he's muted. T,
How you doing, Jay?
What's good with you? What's good with you, boy?
Doing good, man. I was just asking you a question. I'm down here in DC with one of your locations. I go there all the time, man. I follow your story. But the quick question was, how you go about brand philosophy? Like, cause I'm trying to create a brand and I got all these different names and ideas. And when I researched what your name meant, it was like, I kind of felt it, but it's like, it's not easy to pronounce from everybody's perspective. So it's like, I want to know, how did you go about that when it came to philosophy?
Well, you talking about I'm a year specifically, right?
Yeah.
I wanted something that was like Google. Like, what the fuck is Google? Like, what was a Google before Google? Fuck is
It's called something crazy. I forgot the name.
So Google noun is equal search, because it meant nothing before, right? So we're in the States, and alma mater as a word doesn't mean anything because it's not an English word, but it has meaning because it's a French word. And if you look at luxury goods, and you come from where we come from, right? We all come up, and it's about chasing those things, right? Because you want that social currency. So it was about doing that our way, right? So I was able to find a word that checked all the boxes for us. Alma mater means nothing in English, right? It means something meaningful in French, but also speaks to the journey that we on in the places that we from. Does that make sense? And it's just about digging, bro. It's that took me talking to my man Jay Paris, who's Japanese and French. It took Kev back when he had his agency, and you just got to vibe out, man. And you gotta give yourself some room, man. Listen, I'm a year may sound great. My first boutique was Flavor Factory. That wasn't so great as a name, right? So you learn, right? Like you gotta get there. But the catch is, with Flavor Factory birth was social status, right? Social status birth alma mater and birth APB and birth prosper and birth all these other things. So I say all that to say, sometimes starting is starting, right? And you got good folks around you, I'm sure. You got people around you that got good taste. Ask them. Like, sit around. Like, yo, we call it in our world, they call it insights, right? People come in our world and they call them focus groups. You a part of that. You run around with people every day to get it. They got taste. It's in the world. Sit around and talk to them. Come back with something. See how I feel.
All right.
Thank you, bro. I see you appreciate it come out your mouth.
Nice. So our next question comes from Discord as well. What exactly does the brainstorm design process look like when it comes to designing and creating these Jordan collab releases?
Vibes. It just depends, man. You just catch vibes, man. Here, I'll give you one. All right, I'm gonna give y'all one. I'm gonna give y'all one for like 3 seconds. And if somebody's on Jordan's on the phone, then yo, you just catch a vibe. You know what I'm saying? You sit in a room with people who are intelligent and who get it, and you got to understand what it is that your brand is about. Why are you in a room together? What do you want to accomplish? And then you kind of just like catch it, right? With the threes, it was about for us with Jordan Brand, we've been working on I'm a Year for now, but it's understanding that coming in a room that I'm a Year represents timeless classic luxury from a product perspective. So we start there. And then it's like colors and the things that are important to us and neutrals and what makes sense to us. And, and then we go to work. There is no perfect science to creativity. I think people ask me, there's somebody who I've been meaning to call for weeks. And I think they ask me all the time, like, how do you do some of these things? And the short answer is like, I don't know. Like that's just God, yo. I don't know if you're religious or not. Like you if you've ever created something, I don't think when you just in it. You start getting in it and you start pulling shit. You're around people that you trust. And when you're in a room with people that you trust and they want to do right by the process and the brand, you start to get in and take risks. So shout out to all the people who's always in a room with me. Kev, Iz, Mark, fucking Bennett, Kim, JJ. Y'all know who y'all are. Like everybody in that Jordan room who adds to this shit. Last time was Chris and fucking Arizumi. Frank used to be in a room. Gmo used to be in a room. You just get in and you cook, man. That one I can't answer. It's just like, I don't know. Like you get in that motherfucker and then you come out and be like, damn, that's what we done. Like it's, I don't have an answer for that one.
So our next question comes from Terrell. I'm going to ask you to unmute and you can go ahead and ask your question.
Hey, what's going on? Yeah, so I live out in Atlanta, and I have a nonprofit. It's called X Books, and we give books to people that are incarcerated. And so I kind of have a two-part question. So I wanted to know, so we're in the process of like adding another component to our nonprofit. And I wanted to know why did you decide that the Whitner Group was going to be like the parent company of all your brands? And when did you decide that? Was that the first thing? Like, did you know that you were going to have all these different stores? Or was that something that kind of came like further down the line?
No, man, I just been working, man, for I keep saying 6 years. I don't know if Kev is on the call. I think Kev has been here for 6 or 7 years. I've been doing it for 17, so that makes 10. So for the first 10 years, it was probably like me plus the store managers. Once Cav came on, I think that was close to 7 years ago. We started building a collective team, and at that time it was just social status. It was social status, APB, and I'm a Year. And again, I just have a vision for what it is that we want, how we want to serve, and that's where I start. It's just how we want to serve and how we want to help others. And before it was like, I didn't even really understand because again, I'm a project dude. So I'm not a cool dude. I'm not like the dude that's going like take the Instagram selfie or none of that shit. I'm wired. So I didn't know necessarily how I fit, but I knew this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that part I always understood. So as we were building it, it was just about always following the consumer. And it never made sense to put a whole bunch of shit in one place. It just never made sense to me. It was like, yo, if we're going to do this, luxury has to have a place. Street has to have a place. Youngins need their own place. And we need to stir the pot and make it make sense. And as it starts growing, I said, okay, I can't have 4 email addresses. We got to call it something, right? So it's always just been about continuing to build and then reshape the brand. Like I'll say it to you differently. Life is about evolving and changing and constantly learning. I pride myself on being around people who either challenge me to be better or just better than me. And I spend my time with people who are comfortable pushing themselves and also comfortable pushing me. So the idea is to always get better every day and always be pushing, but stand centered in purpose and stand centered in doing right by folks. And I have the pleasure to be able to do that and still be able to earn a living and create and try to help humanity be better. So I'd be lying to you if I told you that I think I could create something meaningful. Yes. That I knew exactly how it would look. Absolutely not. I literally wake up every day and built it and asked myself, what's the next best thing to do based on what's happening right now? Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Because like there's no instruction book for us. I think I just got my first mentor within the last 5 years, right? Like now I have people that I can call on who are like, they got it, they get it, they can give me advice, but that's very new, right? So for me, I'm very curious to see what we're gonna pull off in the next 20 years, because the first 17, we spent a minimum of 10 or 12 of it figuring it the fuck out, right? Like we didn't have backers or nobody that was trying to give us money. Hell, people was barely trying to do business with us, right? So now we got to a point where I want to believe that where something that looks like, are we ever on an even playing field? I'll get back to you on that, right? But I think we know the answer. I think it's just every day waking up, being willing to be vulnerable, understand you got to learn and understand you got to fight. And the worst part is some days you end up fighting people you never thought you would. But I can go on and go on and go on. I hope that answered the question.
It did. No, I appreciate it. I've been, I'm in a different world, kind of, but I still use like your business values and, some of the ways that you go throughout, your companies, as a helpful vision to myself. So no, I appreciate everything that you're saying.
No, it's transferable. It's transferable. It's absolutely transferable. I read a book years ago that said, if you don't have heroes, make them up. If you don't have enemies, make them up. Right? You gotta find ways to meaningfully push yourself. I ain't never met fucking Elon Musk a day in my life, and I don't know if our values align at all times. But he's a person that's incredibly creative and doesn't put boundaries on himself. Right? The thing that I love about MJ is he's a fucking. If he could have been anything, he would have won out whatever he done.
Yeah.
Right? Like the greatest basketball of all time. He would have been the greatest whatever of all times. Like he just got it. Does that make sense?
100%.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Nice. Also, Terrell, I remember you from one of our events. Congrats again on your foundation, and I hope we see you again in space. You are fired.
And Terrell, I don't know how I missed over that. Please get with us if there's something that we can do together. I don't know how I missed that. That's the second drink. Please hit us. If there's anything that we can do to support, we would love to. And I don't mean like, the corny shit, like the real shit.
It means it, y'all.
Okay.
I can validate. All right. So our next question comes from Glenn. Is there a plan holistically to gather the minority-owned brands to create a stronger retail base?
It's called color code. We do it already. Absolutely. Why wouldn't we? Like the idea is, the catch is the first thing we got to do is build the foundation so everybody understands what excellence looks like. I keep saying it. I love what the Jewish folks do. Shit's fucking incredible, right? I love what Asian folks do. Shit's fucking incredible, right? Like, so why wouldn't we? Like, I'm not here to this ain't about reverse discrimination or anything like that. This is about empowering a minority. So yeah, for sure. If anybody has anything that's meaningful from a design perspective, that's why we do this. Like, hit us buying at the Whitner GRP. Sometimes we slow, sometimes we fast, but our intent is to do right by everybody and create a community that empowers us all. So yeah, that's what this is about.
Nice. And I'm gonna do this next one from the chat because it's a hot one, but I feel like it's a good one. Would you sacrifice economies of scale for a quick turnaround of your product hitting the market?
Depends on why you needed to hit the market. This one is one I need more context. Because in a window, it makes sense. Like if you got LVMH saying they want to do something with you, yeah, fuck it, bite the bullet, right? But if you tight on cash fund, you just starting up, you can't afford it, right? Unless the opportunity on the other side is a lot bigger. So it's too many things that I would have to think about to answer that question, like one-on-one, one for one. But yeah, circumstantially, yes, maybe, no, yeah, it just depends. I need more context.
Gotcha. And he said, do you value economies of scales over quick profits?
Yes, always value economies of scale. You can't grow without it. Always remember it's a long game. Study Warren Buffett. Fuck the money part. Just being patient. Like to me, Berkshire Hathaway exists because it's the perfect example of patience. They sitting on probably close to $200 billion in capital. That's a lot of fucking money. And just because they patient and willing to wait for the right opportunity. So building economies of scale, it's just about saying that you believe in your business long term and you ain't chasing the trend. You chasing the trend, you're gonna probably be dead. You chasing the trend, you already dead. Don't get me wrong, you chasing the trend, you could be learning to. So I shouldn't say that. That's a bit wrong. Because we all got to start somewhere. But it's tough to build a meaningful long-term business based off of seasonal trends, right? You have to build the foundation. Like you can't go in and build the house on quicksand. That shit is a real, the analogy is absolutely real. All the shit that old people said to you makes much more fucking sense when you get past 40. Trust me, I know, I just got past 40.
Nice. And we have a few hands raised. So I swear I'm gonna pronounce his name right. Lucini.
Yeah, Lou.
Lou. I'm gonna ask you to unmute yourself and see if that's gonna work better.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yep.
What's going on, James? Thanks, Samantha. That was okay. You're almost right.
I almost got it. Thank you.
Yeah, you almost got it. My name is Lucini. I've been in here. What's going on, Be Social, or Be Social community? My question is, so Mark Echo's Complex launched a network around in the middle of the pandemic, and Till Jaga, head of energy at Adidas in Germany, just launched a video commerce platform called Vertical, where they're like streaming modern style and culture. So I wanted to know if you're like having conversations with them or advising them when they're building, and have you considered partnering with companies like this?
Oh, hold on. I love what you just done right there, Lou. I'm sorry. Say that the rest of that again. Are we advising them?
Are you advising them when they're building? And are you considering like partnering with companies like this?
Which one specifically? Again, I was too busy laughing when you.
So there's Complex Network, and then Till Jaga yesterday just launched Vertical in Germany.
No, we're not advising anyone. And the thing that I like to meaningfully, like, yo, information. What I always tell our team, we don't charge for ideas, because if I only got one, then I'm doomed anyway, right? So if it's something that look like something that we're doing, I don't know, just do another one, right? Do you want people to take stuff from you? No, but no, we're not advising anyone. And Complex has nothing to do with network. The two things, okay. The two things aren't connected. Actually, they're competitors.
Okay.
So they're not together. I have very good friends at Complex that has rode with us forever. And I even think I know some guys from Network, but I'll say it out loud. Like I love Aria Hughes personally and what she's done and what she's built for herself as a person, and just her integrity as a creative. And I think she has an incredible voice. So I won't even like front and like bite my tongue like I ever do anyway. But no, the rest of that, there's no advice. It's always homie shit. That's it.
Okay. Okay. And I know you're an investor in retail and real estate, but as the Whitaker Group ever plan on opening like a tech investor arm where, you know, you are giving more than just capital, but also like cultural influence. I know Hypebeast launched Hype Capital sometime in the last year. So is this something that y'all have talked about internally?
Well, we got to get some more money, bro. Like,
Okay.
I'll say it again. We've turned down investor after investor because we want to stay whole. And like, yo, it ain't the easiest thing to do because we got very, you know, we doing a lot of shit. And in order for us to create experiences, we got to own the real estate that we're in. So we make this shit look good, but I'm arguing with banks every other day about one thing or another. Like, obviously we're not hurting, but it's actually tough for us to build in our space. And a lot of reason that we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to do what we need to do. But this shit ain't cheap, yo. So I would love to invest in a space, but we still have so much room to grow. We're in the middle of I think 14 built, and we got about six to go, and we got stuff on the board, and I'm sure there's a lot of shit that Kev ain't even said to me yet. So I would love to invest in a space. But honestly, we just don't got the capital. I mean, if you start to look at some of the other folks in our space, they got people around them. They got a ton of money. We ain't that, yo. If I keep saying, right, if I say no, if I say yes to somebody's money, I guess we could be. But if I say yes to somebody's money, we wouldn't exist the way we do now. So you can't have it both ways, bro.
All right, Lou, does that answer your whole question? I'm going to assume so. Awesome. So, so we are nearing 8 p.m. and I just need to check in with our panelists. How you doing, James?
I'm great, Samantha. Let's go. Let's keep going. For how many more questions we got?
Nice. Just the question I was going to ask you. How many you wanted to take? Okay, cool. So we have another one from Discord. I think we can do a few more. Do you draw inspiration from any other collaborators, or do you tend to pave your own way?
The wheel is round, and it was created by cavemen or women, probably cave women, and men was like, oh shit, that works. Let me try it. But no, I think, I think we all live on Earth, so we all are influenced by our environments, right? So my environment was influenced by someone, so I'd be very arrogant to say that someone isn't driving me. And fuck, there's people who call me that say shit to me all the time to get me really excited. So anybody who says anything that gets me excited probably influences me one way or another. So of course I'm influenced by someone. I try to never take from anyone. I'm more of a guy who makes sure that we're not taking anyone's influence, or we're not trying to step on anyone's toes. We want to carve our own lane, and we want to make sure that we're beating to our own drum. But absolutely, shout out to everybody who creates. Like yo, everybody got their version chicken, right? Like, and don't nobody's chicken taste the same.
Nice. And we have a few more hands raised. Gio, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself. You can go ahead and ask your question.
Hey, Samantha, thank you. Mr. Whitner, thank you. I was curious about the whole, I think somebody mentioned it in the chat about, the whole bot infiltration when the releases are dropped. Are you guys doing anything to prevent that?
Bot infiltration when our releases is dropped?
Yeah.
What I would say is, arrogantly, our drops is the shit. 2 drinks in. But our releases, shout out to Chris and Kev and our team. We spend a lot of money and a lot of time to block bots out for 4 minutes. And we spend a lot of energy creating product that will sell within 1 minute, so bots don't get in within the 4 minutes. Does that make sense? And I think if you start to research on any of our releases, that we've done a meaningful job of blocking bots, and we'll keep putting that same effort and energy in on all of our collab releases. And if we talk about regular shoe drops, raffle them. It's easy because then we can know you're not. If your email address says I'm a reseller at whatever yahoo.com, you're never going to win. Stop entering the raffle.
Yeah, I'm just a local buyer, and I've tried to, hit on every Alma Manir drop, and I had to buy them resale, but I know people that hit 4 or 5 times on them, and they're not resellers.
Yeah, well, again, if you bots are blocked for 4 minutes to give people a chance to cop manually. So if you can get on manually and get on again manually, shit, process is the process, right? We're not going to ship to the same address twice, but if you got an aunt and uncle and a cousin, we ain't going to do nothing about that either. I'm sure Cab would laugh at me if I said something to him about that. But no, I think our job is to make sure human beings with different addresses get a pair. Does that make sense? And if your email has something to do with commerce, we're probably not going to ship you, right? That's it. It's that simple.
All righty. So our next question comes from Kari. Can you speak on the state of media / blogs and sneakers and fashion, and if there's something you would like to see done differently? As an investigative journalist in the field, I'd like to know how I can elevate Black journalism and ensure the stories behind your passion products are being told correctly.
Damn, that was a good one, Sam. Say it again. I need to break it up in pieces.
Can you speak on the state of media and blogs in sneakers and fashion?
Stop right there. I think there aren't many journalists that I actually respect. Right? There's a handful that I'll answer the phone for anytime because they want the information and they don't want to break a story, but they want to understand so they can get the right story when they're ready to tell a story. Right? That's the shit that I respect. People who just want to chase a fad or a trend so I think when you start talking about telling Black stories, I don't know if there are. That's why I'll go back to Aria again, and my man Fabian too. He's Mark. Correct me. I believe he's in Germany. But when people want to tell stories the right way, to get told the right way, go and read any of Aria's stories, like any of the ones that she takes fucking months to write. Like, yo, that shit to me is incredible when somebody's willing to dig in. Or I give you a better one. Look at her stories and like how she's going in and finding like the fucking stylist who done a Little Kim video in 93 and then finds out that they styled also Aaliyah or some other shit. Like, that's real journalism. When she digs into them and finds out why and what inspired their style, that's real journalism in this building, right? So the opposite side of that is starting to taking that level of journalism and starting to dig into other stories. And Aria's done that work, but we need other people to dig in and do that work as well. And shout out to Aria on her new job is fucking, I don't know the job title, but she got a big ass promotion at Complex because she's really fucking good at what she does. So I would love to see more Black journalists go in and dig deep and tell stories. And listen, you're not always going to get the readers that you're going to get in the beginning, right? Like Free Game, we've done Free Game sessions with 2 people on it before, yo. Like it has to be about doing things because it's the right thing to do. So sometimes you got to tell stories even when people don't care. I think I posted yesterday about George Floyd's anniversary and posted about the Buffalo shooting and posted about the kids dying in fucking Texas. And that shit don't get no responses on social because people care about fuck shit and people want to reply to fuck shit. But that don't mean you don't continue to post and engage about it. That's what makes you a fucking leader. And that's what makes you make a difference. And when you do those actions consistently, that's character. I was reading something on a list, something on a plane today. Your reputation is what people say about you. Your character is who you are. Be who you are every minute of the day. And don't be a fuck boy or a fuck girl because there's enough of that shit out there for everybody.
Nice. And the second half of that question is, as an investigative journalist in the field, I'd like to know how I can elevate Black journalism and ensure the stories behind your passion projects are being told correctly.
Hit us, shit. Let's do a story together and figure it out. The easiest way is hit Mark at thewhitakergrp.com. Mark, please drop your information in the chat. Let's talk about something and figure out how to elevate it. Because tactically, I could sit here and think about it. It will probably take me 15 minutes to really think about all the ways, but I'm an execution guy. So if you have an established media source, it's probably a little easier, right? But if you don't have an established media source, we got to be intentional, and we got to probably balance some sugars and vegetables. So if we want to talk about George Floyd's killing, and we talking about a shoe that I just waved across the stream, people might pay a little more attention if that shoe is in the headline and they come and read the story, and people realize the two things don't connect, but the person who's doing the shoe actually cares more about the killing than he does the shoe, right? And I'm making it up as I go right now, but I think the easiest answer that I have, at least in this moment, is, yo, let's work together and we can figure it out. We got tons of stories to tell. So big, small, we would love to work with any Black journalists.
Awesome. So we have a few more questions in the chat. This next one is from Autumn Glenn. Are all of your businesses a reflection of your growth as a person? If so, what is your process for projecting that growth in each business?
Oh, damn, these questions is getting good. Yo, I honestly, I'm growing every day, and I work to get better every day. And I put myself around people who allow me, who I'll allow to hold me accountable, and I'm able to hold them accountable. And then the things evolve as they need to. So there's no perfect answer to that question, because it's a constant evolution, and we're working to get better every day. The person that I probably work with most in business is Cav in our internal business. That's my left hand. And he ain't Black, he's Taiwanese. But he understands my plight and my pain. And I think his love for me helps him buy into it, even though he didn't have the same general experience, if that makes sense. And then on the juxtaposition is probably Mark, who has a different story because he's Ivory Coast African, Canadian, right? Who has a different set of plight and pain. So when you go back and forth and you get ping pong from people who really care about this work, and they care about us being really, really fucking good on the business side. So it's, again, I'm surrounded by people who I honestly believe care about me as a human being, who want to get better as a company, but most importantly, who really give a fuck about humanity and the difference that we want to make. And with that, it allows us to grow. It allows us to grow. And we ask ourselves, we have decks after decks, like deck after decks, and we're constantly updating them because we're constantly evolving them and working to get better. So every day we hope to take 2 steps forward. Some days we take 1 step back, but ultimately we grow.
Awesome. And I see we have a raised hand. What's up, Tuck? We'll go ahead and unmute you, and you can ask your question.
Yo, what's good? What's good, Whitaker Group?
Talk.
What up, boy? What up, man? Question. I actually had an in-depth conversation with Scoop last week, and he was talking about storytelling. And in this talk, he talked about certain excerpts we did with ESPN where certain stuff was cut out. And you got to learn, when you're collaborating with these certain brands, you got to think it's not about you, it's about the message. So for you, James, with any of these shoe collaborations you have with Nike and Jordan brand, has there ever been one thing where you just had to like cut it back even though you didn't want to cut it back? That makes any sense.
Nope. I'm gonna go to the top of this. Shout out to the folks and the leaders at Nike and Jordan. Like, at the end of the day, they empower us to tell our fucking stories. Void of that, what the fuck am I? Again, Tuck, you've been around me long. You've been sitting on these screens for a long time, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I'm only good at this one thing. I come from the bottom, and we're gonna talk about what that's like and how and what the journey's like in our stories, right? If you start to
Right.
water that down, what is it?
It's
Right?
about coming. Yep.
No, I can honestly say, shout out to all the leaders. I ain't gonna scream their names, but they really, really, really are comfortable letting us make folks uncomfortable. That's what we here for, yo.
Appreciate it, James. Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you, boy.
All right, this next one still comes from the chat. How do you manage your mental health in light of all the businesses that you manage, and how do you find time to be with family?
That's well said. I don't have anything else. My mental health is I try to take time to just breathe and listen and take it all in. And I'm a work in progress like everybody else. You know, I done been through a lot, and this shit fucking still haunts me. And I work through it. My family's my rock. So that's all I got. I got this work. I got my health, my family, and opportunity. Everything else don't matter. And the opportunity is about us getting better. Don't nothing else matter to me.
Now, this next question is from Discord, but it very much aligns with the previous question. So this one is, what does your day look like from the moment you wake up?
That's a very good fucking question. Non-fucking stop. I open up my eyes. It depends on what week it is. If I got my kids and taking them to school that week, I'm opening up my eyes and I'm probably saying, fuck, I'm tired. And I look at my phone. I turn music on in my daughter's room so it wakes her up because I got to take her to school first. Or if I'm not taking her to school that day, then I just turn to my phone and I go like, yo, again, if I'm woke, I'm working or with my babies or trying to not die. And when I say trying to not die, that just means my mental health and physical health. That's it, man. Like I'm putting it all back in. Like me, I ain't listen. This shit is something different for me. It ain't about, again, I ain't trying to be on nobody's blog and taking no selfie. I'm trying to make meaningful impact and leave a mark out this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So like, yo, it's the opportunity to head to work is the blessing for me. Like the opportunity not to be standing on somebody's court or being somebody's fucking federal inmate number or in a box in the ground. So that shit is, I'm not that. So I get the opportunity to do this and take care of my babies. Again, the rest, nothing else matters. I go to sleep thinking about what I need to do the next day or what my babies or family need from me. That's it. Don't nothing else matter.
Amazing. So we're going to take one more question and then we're going to check in to see how many more questions you want to do, James. All right. So our next one is from one of our raised hands, DZO Stephalis. Please give me grace. With the name. I'm going to ask you to unmute and you can ask your question.
Sorry, it's Damaso. It's actually not Diesel Stephalis. I didn't change my name. So James, I wanted to, you had mentioned something about making an impact in the world. And like for people like me, I'm originally from Nigeria. I live up in Boston. So when you were talking about making an impact in the world and your pain, how do you feel that your pain can relate to people from like other nationalities? People who like come from like Africa. I believe you mentioned you had somebody who was like from Court of Sierra Leone or something like that you had around you, one of your people?
Ivory Coast. Mark, you can click.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how do you feel that your story can relate to the make an impact in the pain that they feel? Because we all have different beginnings. Like you came from the bottom. People come from these other African countries.
Yes.
My parents, I come from the bottom. Like
yes. No, man, it's that just similar, like that connection, right? Like, yo, if somebody can look at me and say, damn, this dude made it. I'm shocked that I made it. I thank fucking God every day that I made it. Right? Like, yo, just purely, I understand the power of my existence. Like there's power in the fact that I actually exist, like breathing air, right? Free. Like, yo, I understand that. So for me, doing free game is about that. It's just about like putting energy out there for somebody who ain't got a fucking, I still remember, and right now you said, I think you just said you in Boston. Right now you in Boston, so you ain't where you was. But there's a ton of people where you that are still now where you were. And there's still tons of dudes just ringing my phone that got life, or ringing my phone and they still got a pack and a pistol, or ringing my phone and they got an out date and they're trying to get back out and don't know what they're going to do. Like, yo, it's a lot of scenarios that could be very different than the ones that we in. So like, yo, shit, there's somebody who just got fucking killed every second and every moment of every day for one reason or another. And I'm thankful that it's not me. So I understand what my responsibility is to all those people in all those boxes. And I got pain associated with all those things, right? So because of that, I just do work. And I don't always know, like, I don't know what we was going to talk about today. I was going to get up here and say how I feel, right? That's what I own. I own how I feel. Somebody asked me, how do I help my mental health? I help my mental health. This is therapy. Like, free game is therapy. Free game is like, I feel a whole lot fucking better having this conversation, because if somebody's getting better because I'm talking about getting better, then shit, we winning together.
Nice. So just wanted to check in really quick. How many questions do you have in you, James?
We got 8:20.
You said 8?
8:20. We got 10 minutes. We got 10 minutes.
Okay.
10
All right, cool.
And
Okay.
it ain't because I gotta go to the bathroom. But I gotta
You were drinking a lot of beverages earlier.
but I gotta let those beverages out.
So our next question is from Nick. What was the pivotal moment you had that you decided to take the risk into doing what you're doing now? I would imagine it's almost the same life-changing moment you have when you decide to turn your life around.
Yeah. I mean, this was an easy choice. I think I just said it a second ago. This is legal. Ain't nobody dying, ain't nobody going to jail. This was an easy choice. I say that all the time. When we in a meeting, everybody talking about hard choices or making courageous decisions. It's very easy for me. Ain't nobody dying, ain't nobody going to jail. So everything associated with this business is very, very easy for me. It's no pressure at all, actually. It's all opportunity, right? So the upside is you got a life, you got space, you got opportunity to get better. You got the space to challenge the system. Things might not be stacked in our favor, but like, yo, you got the ability to be able to do work and try to figure it out. And my goal on that is just try to provide platforms that help people actually do that. I hope that answers the question.
I think that was pretty meaty. Nice. So our next question is from Graylin Hurd. Did you ever have a time in your life where you had to separate or take distance from people you love that just weren't on the same frequency as you? And if so, how did you go about it? And what advice do you have on that? I have this same question.
Yeah, separate. Like, yo, it's people that I love. I mean, love, that I know it ain't gonna work out. If you know that what you on and what they on ain't the same thing, you got to separate yourself if you want better. We all got choices to make. And sometimes the courageous decision is the one to be able to walk alone. And once you do, it makes it easier, because people always think, my brother used to tell me I was pipe dreaming because it was so fucked up where we was from. But until I stepped away, and even when I stepped away years, I was still pipe dreaming because it didn't work. But when he got a chance to see it with his eyes, and he would be like, yo, I can do it. Now he gone, right? He doing his thing. And now people who respect him can see him do it. And now they making moves to do something different, right? So you gotta take a risk. You gotta be willing to walk alone. You gotta be willing to walk by yourself. It's again why I don't fuck with this. Why I use fuck boy so loosely. Like, yo, when you ain't from nowhere, you ain't accountable to nothing. It's easier for you to make decisions that don't You know, that's the privilege of being second generation, the third generation, the fourth generation, because the decisions you make, they don't affect you as bad as if you first generation and you going back to nothing, right? If you can make a mistake and there's somebody there to pick you up, that's a privilege. If where I'm from, you make a mistake, that's it. Ain't nobody picking you up. So for me, it was very easy because I ain't have much, and it gets harder. The more you have, the harder it becomes to not be a fuck boy or fuck girl, because there's somebody there to give you advice or somebody there to say something to you, somebody to make you feel better. But you got to really be willing to stand up on your own and make hard choices and be disciplined and have a plan for yourself and value your character and your reputation and have some integrity. And it can't be about likes and bars. You got to be about meaning and purpose.
Nice. And we have 5 more minutes. So we're going to take a couple more questions. So I'm going to take this next one from Herman. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you.
Hey, James, how you doing, man? We actually met many years ago at a tastemakers meeting out in Vegas. But my question to you is actually kind of related to some of the brand partnerships that you've done in the past.
Sure.
When was there a time you had to basically just say no because of the brand image, overall brand image, or just the sake of the brand? Like you might have had to tell Nike, you know, we're gonna have to pass on that, on, you know, or Adidas or Jordan. Or was there ever a time you had to do that?
Yes, all the time. We say no every day, and it's not usually some of those partners, because the better partners know it's no and why before you say no to them, right? They're smart, right? But every day we got to say no. We got to choose our integrity every day. If you're a woman, I say all the time, shout out to all the beautiful women in the world, because they get shot at the most. And when I say shot at the most, they got to say no to every dude that want to shoot at them to get what they want from them, right? And then they get judged for the times they say yes, right? And the hardest thing in the world is to say no. So yeah, we get shot at every day, man. And you got to have some level of integrity. And you got to understand what's for somebody else may not be for you. And you got to have a vision for what it is you want to be, right? No different than that beautiful woman has to have a vision for what it is that she wants. And in that moment where she may make a mistake and choose somebody that may not be for her, you can't blame them, right? You didn't know no better in that moment. But when you get better, you make a better decision, right? So you got to do the best with your integrity that you know in that moment, right? And you learn, and having the courage to say no is something that's it's like, yo, it's a superpower. But thankfully, I understand how to say no. So shit, if Cavra Markers around, they probably said no for me today, and I don't even know about it. Or I should say they said no for us today, and I probably don't even know about it. I'll probably hear about it later today. Like ultimately, we have a very sharp plan when we understand what it's about. And if it's not rooted in that, it don't make no sense for us.
All right. 2 more. Have you thought about franchising? This is coming from Carlos.
That's an easy one. No, there's no reason to. And when I say no, there's no reason to. It's just like, yo, it's the same reason we don't. Like the second you start giving up or losing control, then it's not that we're control freaks. It's that when you allow someone to have control over your brand at a time where you're still working to build its meaning, then what are you building, right? We're not in a place, I don't think we'll ever have a franchise model. So never say never, but it's very close to never. It just doesn't make sense for us.
All right. And T Carter is back up with another raised hand. Told you I'd try to squeeze you in again. T Carter, go ahead. I'm gonna unmute you and I'm gonna let you take it away.
How you doing, James?
What up, boy?
My last question is, I don't know if I told you, me and a couple of my friends trying to open a retail store in Washington, D.C.
Yep.
My question to you was, how do we go about getting these designer brands at, I guess, a wholesale price to even make profit? Like, how is that being done?
You got to have a vision for what you want to do and why. And listen, I'll be the first person to tell you, DC's tough for designer brands because A, we're there, Barney's is there. What the fuck is the mall damn, I know I had too much to drink. What the fuck? What is it again?
Pentagon City.
No, there's so many luxury. There's so many
gallery.
Yeah, there's so many luxury there's so many luxury points of distribution in DC that it makes it difficult. But if you have a sharp enough vision on what you're doing and why, then you may be able to get a position in the marketplace. But right now it's tough to create wholesale retail that we would call, is because a lot of luxury brands, if you're speaking about luxury specific, want to be vertical, right? And the only time they want to sell wholesale accounts is when that wholesale account has such a sharp perspective on the marketplace. And we have such a good relationship with some of our wholesale partners because we have a very, very, very sharp position and perspective on the marketplace. So what I would encourage you to do is have a vision for your business that separates you from the rest of the market, and make sure you're not around anyone else that is doing something that's even remotely similar.
Yeah, well, basically, our niche is basically going to be streetwear because there's not a lot of options when it comes to like buying like street shoes and like, you know what I mean, like regular streetwear. There's not a lot of options in DC. Like, y'all don't even have that many options when it comes to your store.
Yeah, listen, what I would say is this: keep putting it in front of us. Keep putting it in front of us as you develop the plan. Keep showing up the free game. I'll take a look and help.
For sure. Appreciate you.
No, 100%, bro.
All right, everybody. That was actually our last question of the night. Shout out to James, the Whitner Group, for first of all allowing me to host. Thank you. Also, and also we appreciate all of you coming out and spending your night with us. There's a lot going on in the world, and if we can distract you even a little bit, I feel blessed enough that we were able to do that. James, do you have any closing statements?
No, man. People is losing their life these days. People die every day. I used to say, it was very cold-hearted. Like, if you watch Paid in Full, I think somebody say people die every day, right? I think who the fuck, Cam said it. But now, like, watching these kids get killed, watching the Buffalo shit happen, then watching the shit keep happening on every corner and police killing shit. That shit at different times weighs heavy on me for obvious reasons. So, man, take care of your mental health. Take care of each other. Be kind. Be empathetic. Work to make each other better. Don't compete. There's enough space for all of us. Be competitive, but don't compete. Be competitive, but don't compete. There's enough space for all of us to win and exist meaningfully. And again, I appreciate all of y'all taking the time and let me get my demons out, and me helping y'all makes me better. It also helps empower me and keep pushing us. So I appreciate y'all. That's all I got. Make sure y'all stay tuned in to all of our channels. We appreciate y'all support. We appreciate what we're able to build together. Sam, you got anything else before we take it out of here?
I don't. I feel that all hearts and minds are clear. Everybody have a great night. God bless you, and we will see you next time.